Wanted to address this comment because I feel like a lot can come out of this educationally. This is a reply on a clip of my most recent podcast, and I talk about how certifications are not legitimate in the United States for service animals. And I talk about in this podcast the constant demand and expectations for these certifications. I'm going to read the comment, but I'm going to politely disagree, I guess. Certified as in task trained, not just obedience training. The general public uses training and certification interchangeably. If this is true, this is problematic, and this is why we all speak up about it. We educate the public on what it's really like to be a service dog handler, what really goes into it. Here's where you're correct. Task trained, yes, is the most important part. And I go over this also in the podcast. To be a service dog, you yourself have to be disabled and your service dog has to be trained to mitigate a disability, as in task training, as the commenter said. But they said basically that certified means task trained and the public uses it interchangeably. I wish to God this was true, but it's not. They mean certification. They mean paperwork. They mean cough it up right now. Real life story. I also talk about this on said podcast. I was recently seeing a pain management clinic. It had a separate surgical suite center. The surgical suite center had a big sign on the door that said certified service dogs only. Because of uneducated doctor's offices in the past, I never bring my service dog to in a first appointment. I always talk about it while I'm there. If it's not a good fit, then I'm not going to return. But I inquire multiple times, and I was told that yes, that's what she needs. She needs a certification. That's all that they allow. And I repeatedly told them that that's not true and that that's actually illegal. And I tried to get a hold of their legal department multiple times. After 4 months of issues with other departments, I finally was in contact with their customer support, their customer rep manager. We discussed this issue again, where I've asked multiple times. I keep getting the runaround. Nobody will talk to me about this issue, and that I'm a service dog handler trying to bring my service dog to appointments where they would wait in the lobby with my spouse, who's an alternate handler. This is how it works at hospital. And I totally understand that she wouldn't be able to go back to the surgical suite with me. She insisted that yes, that is what it is, and that is what they received from legal, is that they require certifications. And she kind of so rudely put it, I have a lot of service dog handlers and they have no problem handing over certification. They have no problem handing over paperwork. Okay, well, that's illegal. Well, it's not though, because we talked to legal, is essentially how our conversation went. And then I said, okay, can I speak to your legal department? Oh, well, I'd have to look for the number. I don't know. I don't know. Okay, well, thank you. And then we looked up and they have their entire companies, everything on just Google. You can find their legal, their email, their phone numbers. We called them, and we called the main guy, and I think somebody underneath him ended up actually calling us back and responded to us saying that yes, we were correct and that those signs were in the wrong and they did not approve those. And so somebody within that specific unit put those up illegally, and they're having to address that. So no, it's not interchangeable, and it should never be interchangeable, and we shouldn't normalize it being interchangeable. My dog is not certified. That almost makes what she does and the hard work that we do seem like nothing. We can just go get a piece of paper that we'll just call it, or it's the equivalent. No, it's not interchangeable. A certification is illegal. I mean, you can buy them, but it has no legal bearing even in an apartment complex. Some apartments take them, but it's because they're honestly ignorant of the law. So I don't know. But no, I think we should normalize saying what it is. I have a task trained service animal, and that's why when you are at public businesses, they are allowed essentially to ask you, is that a service animal? And you say yes or no, which obviously yes. And what tasks are they trained to perform? They can't ask you to perform the tasks. They couldn't ask you, why does your service dog do deep pressure therapy? What diagnosis? But they can ask what tasks they can perform, and any service dog handler worth their salt will be able to tell them. Your presence cannot be a task. Just them being there to help your anxiety can't be a task. They have to have some type of active tasking involved or some type of management involved. Like calming wouldn't necessarily, like a calming presence wouldn't necessarily be a task, but panic attack interruption would be.